Give just a second for people to get joined up. I know we have a large group. Right. Well, it is 8:01 and we do have a bit to cover, so I'm going to dive in here. First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining me super bright and early on Valentine's Day and on such short notice. So again, today's session is being recorded for those who are not able to join us in person or, for future playback if needed or desired. And you were all invited to participate in today's session because you are either a change champion or an agency support person, or you're a state staff employee who will be supporting and assisting with the business process policy related questions or issues. We do have just 1 hour together today, so I'm going to ask that everybody stay muted while I get through the demo and the presentation, and then hopefully we'll have a few minutes at the end. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to field those. If let me just see here. If we don't have time to get to all of the questions, I will take them through the chat. So feel free to type your questions into the chat. And then that way, if I'm not able to get to all of them before our hour is up, I will certainly make sure that we get responses out to you. I'm going to mute everybody's line for now. Hopefully you guys can still hear me, just so that we can make sure that we can get through the presentation until the end. So before we get started, I will share my screen here really quick. You guys are seeing my screen. Before we get started, I did want to ask that everybody on the call make sure that your colleagues have seen this notification that went out on Sunday. So this notification indicated the revised deploy date, which is Tuesday of next week, February 20th at 8 a.m. The new Evergreen system will be live. And there was some very important information in this communication besides the revised deploy date. So in addition to sharing that date, it also describes a little bit about how the deploy process will work so that people have an idea of what to expect. So as of tomorrow at 5 p.m., EIS will be taken offline for a very short, for the evening, while we set it into read-only status. Then on Friday morning, you will be able to log into EIS with your credentials, just like you currently do, and you'll be able to see everything that you currently have access to see. You just won't find any add or edit buttons or functionality anymore. It will be in a read-only state so that you can view data, you can search around and view data, but you can't modify any data in that system. And then after that, our team, my team, and the project team at the vendors organization will begin all of the tasks that we need to migrate all the data that's in EIS into Evergreen and get all the functionality in there, the additional functionality in there for all of you to be ready for Tuesday morning. In addition to those details which are outlined in here, there's also a post-deploy support plan outlined for all of your colleagues. So this is the other piece that I wanted to make sure that you share forward with them so that they know sort of what the expectations are for the post-deploy support. So our goal is to minimize the number of duplicate issues that are being reported or duplicate questions that are being submitted so that we can most effectively and efficiently respond to those and make sure that people are getting the help that they need. So that's why we've engaged all of you, and we appreciate all of you volunteering to support this effort and being change champions and or agency support people. Um, and so what we want your colleagues to know and what we want people to know is that we've attempted to provide a lot of self-help resources. This is going to be the fastest way for them to get answers. So we have the project website out there that has all of our FAQs. We have the training videos posted out there. We have some business process documentation that we're working to update, and you can find business process documentation at our ODES website. Some of those links still have not been updated with the revised versions yet, but we will get them up there just as quickly as we can. And then obviously, if they are having technical difficulty, like they just literally can't get into the system, or the system is down or erroring in some way, they can certainly reach out to the Evergreen help desk. And I will provide that contact information for you guys in the chat just so that you have that as well, right handy, because if they're struggling to get into the application, they won't be able to access that because it's inside. So let me put that in the chat right now for you. Um, so that's what we want to encourage people to um, try to use the self-service help features first, because again, that will be one of the fastest ways for them to get answers to their questions or find something that guides them through whatever it is that they're attempting to complete. If after they've reviewed those resources, they still can't find the answer, or it's not a question or guidance that they need, it's like they're actually experiencing an issue in the system, then they should come to you as the change champion or the agency support person within their organization. And you, in your role as the change champion or agency support person, will be to um, work with that, see if you can answer the question for them. Maybe you know the answer to the question and can provide that to them, or help them make sure that it truly is an issue. And then if you don't have the answer to that question or either, or you truly believe it's an issue as well, then we're asking you to submit those up to us. And that's what I'm going to show you today, is how you can submit those questions and or issues up to the Office of Aging and Disability Services through our Change Champion, Agency Support Person, Microsoft Teams channels. So we do have, so again, as a change champion or an agency support person, when somebody comes to you as early as Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., then again, guide them or remind them that there are self-help resources, or make sure that they are aware of the self-help resources, and hopefully they've reviewed those before they've come to you. And if not, feel free to tell them that they should. Don't take it upon yourselves to do all of the work for them. But if they truly have reviewed all of those and they can't find the answer and they do still have an issue, then you can feel free to submit that up to us, escalate that up to us. And we're also hoping in this role that you'll act as a gatekeeper, not only to ensure that, people just aren't escalating questions and issues that the answers are out there for already for, but also to ensure that you're filtering out duplicates. So as you can imagine, if one person is experiencing an issue or one person has a question, probably multiple people have that same issue or question. So hopefully as you're receiving outreach from your colleagues or subordinates, if you're in a supervisory role, you'll realize whether you've already answered this question has already been submitted or this issue has already been submitted, and just don't continue to submit duplicates of those issues and questions in the chat. So that again, the goal here is to minimize the duplicates as much as possible. Obviously, we understand that with, 2,700 people, we are going to get duplicates. We're just trying to minimize the duplicates as best as we can. So once you've determined that there isn't an answer to the question or it's truly an issue, couldn't find anything out in they couldn't find anything out in the FAQs, technical guide, training videos, process manuals, and you agree there's nothing out there. That's when you'll submit your Teams question. So let me show you around in here. After this call, at some point today, excuse me, it might be tonight. I have a lot of competing priorities right now, but at some point, I will add all of you to your appropriate Microsoft Teams channel. Please note, for those on the call who are state staff who won't be necessarily submitting questions or issues in the Teams channel, I did provide a previous training for you as support persons on how to triage questions and escalate those further on February 7th. I will post that recording out to our state staff Oats Common Drive and send you a link by email in case you weren't able to participate in that one. I'm not going to cover that today. I'm going to focus on from the external provider and case management care coordination agency perspective, how they submit questions and issues to us. So there are 3 separate channels. You'll be invited to your appropriate channel or channels if you should be on multiple. One is for case managers and care coordinators. One is for other providers, and one is specific to state staff roles. We've divided them this way because we think that case managers and care coordinators will have a consistent set of questions and issues. Providers will have a separate, more distinct set of questions and issues, and state staff have totally different roles. So we wanted to make sure that we could keep those questions and issues separated out. We have state staff who are going to be dedicated to monitoring these Microsoft Teams and their channels and responding to those. So what we're asking is that when you have a question or an issue that you need to submit, that you navigate to your team. So apologies, you're seeing my Microsoft Teams. I have a ton of Teams, as you can tell. If you don't already have Teams, you'll likely just have one. If you have some already for other agency purposes, then it will get added to your list. The name of your channel will be DHHS-ODES Evergreen. And then if you're a case manager or care coordinator, CCM/care coordinator. If you're a provider with a provider organization, it'll be DHHS-ODES Evergreen Provider. And if you're a supervisor or manager at the state level, it will be DHHS-ODES Evergreen State. These are all set up exactly the same way. So I'm just going to use the CCM care coordinator one to describe the process for you. So when you come into the team, it may be collapsed. So it may look like this, and you'll just see the title, and there'll be a little caret arrow to the left, and you can click that once, and it will drop down, and you'll see a channel called General. You'll want to click on that channel. And there will be 3 tabs across the top: posts, files, and notes. We're going to focus on posts today. Files may be used if we need to share back a document with you. If you have a document that you need to provide to us, files can be used to um, add those items in that area so that all users of the chat channel can access it and find it easily. But in general, you will use the posts feature, and you will, I'm actually going to show you in this chat what it looks like. It looks like this little button, start a post, and you simply click on it and it opens up what looks like an email. So it has a subject line and then it has a body of that email message. So I have one started over here that I wanted to share with you. So, and I'm actually going to submit this one on the call today, and then I'm going to try to pin it to the top, and I'll do that in each of these channels. But this is giving you an idea of how we'd like you to format your posts so that it's easy for us to make sure we have all the information in order to support you and respond. So, in the title, we would like you to add, so if you have a question, in the title, we'd like you to add the subject in the subject line of question. So we want you to type it in like this, like question, colon, and then type the topic of your question, like PCP state review timeline or something like that, right? So I'm going to take this one out right now. So we want you to do your subject for questions similar to this. And then in the body down here, you type kind of a lengthier question. If it's an issue, we want you to do the subject line. Oops, if I could spell, we'd be doing good this morning. We want you to type the subject line as issue with a colon, and then again, sort of your topic area, like, is this related to the person-centered plan? Is it related to the comprehensive assessment? Is it related to the person record? You know, whatever it might be. And then like maybe a little short description of what the issue is. But then in the body, we want you to add a lengthier description. Oh, and I'm sorry, I forgot. We'd also like you to add your organization's name to the subject. That way, we can keep track and make sure that we, if we have like duplicates coming in from multiple organizations and agencies, we can make sure that we're deduplicating those. So also put like, I'm gonna pick on Goodwill here, sorry. So, you know, issue, and then you can just put what it is, and then it's from Goodwill. And similarly for your question. So for issues, the body of the post is going to have a little bit more detail than questions. Obviously, in a question, you're just going to type the text like, hey, we have this question. In an issue, we want you to describe what the issue is that you're experiencing. So, you know, are you getting some sort of an error message? Are you getting a blank screen? Are you getting like a little spinning circle? What is the behavior that you're experiencing in the system? And is it one person or multiple people that have reported this issue to you? Now, obviously, when you do the post, it might be one person, and then you might start getting more people reporting the same issue. If that happens, you can come back and find your post and then add to the conversation for that post to say, I have more people that are experiencing this, just so that we know that it's turned into a multiple user issue. If it's a single person issue, and it's, you know, specific to that person, like a good example might be as a community case manager, somebody logs in and they're like, my whole caseload isn't showing up. I have everybody except this person, you know, that's a distinct single person issue. That's not going to affect other users caseloads, because those are explicit relationships. So in that case, we would also like to know who is the single user that's experiencing this, so that we can, what's their username for the system, so that we can go and try to figure out what's going on with their actual account. And also like a phone number and or email address for them, so that if we need to reach out to them directly, we can do that. In addition to, a good description and, if it's a single person, who it is that's experiencing this, it's super helpful for us if you can attach screenshots of what you're seeing. So if you're seeing an error message, if you can take a screen grab of that, a screenshot of that error message, or copy the text from that error message and paste it in for us. All of that type of information can be helpful in us trying to recreate the issue and diagnose the issue. And it's super helpful for FEI if we need to escalate it up to them. So you can attach screenshots using a little paper clip here. And of course, it's going to give me, I didn't try this before this morning, but I'll make sure that that's working for you. But it should allow you to, oh, here we go, upload from your device. So if you take screenshots, save them, it would be super ideal if you can save those screenshots with the same subject line as your post. And then that way we can categorize them over here and make sure they get attached to the right issues if we need to escalate those issues and that kind of thing. And then just upload them from the device, just the same way that you would with any attachment. Just pick it from your files. It will take a second for it to attach there, but then you'll see that it's attached. I'm going to remove this one from here and I'm going to put this back. So once you have everything in your post that you need to add, you then just simply click post. This is going to submit the post to everybody in the chat. So you'll be able to see what other people are posting for issues as well. So if there's another organization that submitted a question or an issue, you'll be able to see that. And we will reply under that post. So you'll be able to find our answer. So if it was a question and we can answer it right away, we'll come in here and we'll just put answer and we'll provide the answer. If it's something that's lengthier than just, a quick sentence or two, we might say, please see attached file with instructions or something like that, right? Like if it's something that we need to create step-by-step instructions for, or we might say, please refer to project website FAQ and give you the title of the FAQ, or please refer to technical user guide page, whatever, so our answers to questions will be posted right there. If it's an issue and we've been able to recreate the issue and we know that we need it resolved, our staff will enter that ticket into the ticketing system on our side. We will then respond back and say, issue confirmed and escalated. And once the issue has been resolved, we'll come back here and update again to say this issue has been resolved. So it would be like a second comment under this post. As you can imagine, things will get busy. Probably in the first few days, there'll be a lot of posts coming in here. And then after the first week or so, they'll dwindle down more. If we find that, we need clarification or we're not quite understanding, we may also comment under your post and say like at whoever posted it so that it will like tag you. I don't have anybody add it. Maybe I do that. Yeah. So like we would tag you so that you would see a little indication that there's a post out here that we're looking for some additional information in. So if we need some clarification, we might do something like this and say, please provide this or blah, 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 blah. or we might ask like a follow-up question. Um, if we are struggling to get all the information that we need sort of just through chatting in the post, we may also ask to do a quick call with you. Or if we're finding that everybody's having a common issue and we can do a quick little demonstration or meeting, we might also call an actual meeting in here. We might say, hey, we might create a post and say, hey, we're going to do a call on this topic at this date and time. And then we'll just open up a call for everybody. We'll provide those details. Sometimes, so again, sometimes the answers will be posted in here. If it's something common, like if we're getting the same question from a lot of different people, or if we think it's something that's a common issue, we'll also try to add that to our project website FAQs. And we'll also try to do some sort of regular communications to all of our end users by email too, saying, hey, we go back, check the FAQ, we've updated it and added some additional questions and answers for things that have been coming in, or if we have some kind of critical issues that are identified, hopefully not, but if we have some critical issues that are identified right after deploy, we'll probably send some sort of regular communication to everybody with some status on those issues. If it's really impeding people from being able to be effective and efficient, we'll try to keep people updated on that as well by our email distribution list. So through our what was EIS email list, will be Evergreen email list, as well as our provider gov delivery listserv and our internal ODES listserv email. So as I mentioned, the system is expected to be ready. The system will definitely be live for everybody at 8 a.m. on Tuesday, February 20th. We hope it will be available starting as early as 7 a.m., but I can't make any of those promises just in case things take a little bit longer than expected during the actual deployment. So we are saying that it will be available at 8 a.m. However, we anticipate that it will be available as early as 7 a.m. So I myself will be online at 7 a.m. And our FEI account manager as well will be online at 7 a.m. to try to help troubleshoot if anybody's struggling to get into the system. There will be another emailed communication going out either this afternoon or first thing tomorrow with some additional information for all of our end users. A, reminding everybody of the deploy. B, reminding everybody to wrap up reportable events and progress notes, make sure they're in completed state prior to 5 p.m. tomorrow. And it will also have some information about what you can expect as to how to access the system. So it will give you instruction. It will tell you about all the details related to the automated email that you'll receive. So as part of our deployment, we will send out automated emails to, we're migrating all of our existing EIS users into Evergreen. And those EIS users, after they get migrated into Evergreen, will get an automated email that will have a time-sensitive link, hyperlink to Evergreen. It will have their username and it will allow them to set their own password. So you'll set up, the first time you log in through that link, you'll set your own password. And then from there on, you'll be able to manage your own password using the forgot password link and functionality. If for some reason you are not seeing that email, there'll be some information in the email that goes out again this afternoon or first thing tomorrow that says check your junk and spam folders. If your organization is able to, if you're large enough and your organization is able to, today or, before Tuesday, actually before Monday, because we're sending the emails out late on Monday night. If your organization is able to whitelist FEI emails coming from FEI systems let me make sure I give you the right. Give me just a second. I think it's .com, but I don't want to lie to you. um, oops. Yeah, FEIsystems.com. So if your organization's IT department is able to whitelist that email, it will ensure that it goes into people's inboxes rather than like a junk or spam folder. We did have some people when we went live with the Adult Protective Services and guardianship, public guardianship conservatorship, that it did find its way into a junk or spam folder. So if for some reason you don't see it in your inbox, check your junk or spam folder. You should have the email. If you cannot find it or you don't have it, you can certainly contact FEI Systems. They should be able to resend that for you. If you also have somebody that's out on vacation, leave of some sort, and they're not going to be able to log in on Tuesday, their link may expire. If that's the case, then when they return, they can also reach out to the FEI help desk and they can re-trigger that email for them with an updated link so that they can log in for the first time. But that email will have the instructions that you need. It will tell you to follow the link or click on the button. I can't quite remember, but we'll send some of that information out in today's email as well so that you have an idea of how to get in there. And in addition to those reminders and information about how to access the system, the email that will go out today or early tomorrow morning, if I'm not able to get it out today, will also include some additional details around a couple of known workarounds that we need to have people use until we're able to resolve a couple of last minute issues that were found in the system that we couldn't get resolved in time for the deploy. So there's just a handful of them, but we want you to be aware of them. And the other item that I'm going to make sure gets added in there is some additional details around how to get in progress PCPs completed in Evergreen. I know that was a question that came up several times on the Q&As, so I'll make sure that I incorporate some guidelines about, do you need to go back and do a comprehensive assessment? Do you need to go through the state review? So sort of some general guidance on if your PCP migrated in progress, here's how you should get that. Here are the steps that you should take to get that completed in Evergreen. So in addition to FEI help desk, who will do the technical support, if you're having trouble finding your email, having trouble logging in, having trouble, once you get logged in, your access, something's wrong with your access, those types of things, those can be escalated up to FEI, or you're actually receiving some sort of like a weird error, page isn't resolving, something like that. Those all can be escalated up to the FEI help desk. But aside from that, if it's like business process, policy, question, issue, I don't know how to do this using the form, I don't know where this is found in the new system, I knew where it was in EIS and I can't seem to locate it, those kind of questions, those all should come to you as change champions, agency support persons. You'll then submit those up through these Teams channels. ODE staff will be standing by as of 8 a.m. on Tuesday to start triaging questions and issues and responding to those as outlined here. So I'm going to stop talking. I think I've covered all the things I wanted to cover. I see there's some questions in the chat. I'm going to try to answer some of the questions in the chat as quickly as I can here. We do still have 25 minutes together. Yeah, so what time on Friday morning will people be able to access EIS? Yeah, I believe it should be available as early as 7 a.m. on Friday, but I will confirm that and make sure that that gets added to the email that I send out as well with the reminders and information. When will we receive our login information for Evergreen? It will be sometime after 6 p.m. on Monday is when we'll send out the automated email that will allow you to access Evergreen. So on Tuesday, whatever time you log in on Tuesday, you should have that automated email. Um, Sorry, everybody. Yes, this is recorded, so people can play it back. I will make the recording available as well. I've got to figure out how I can make it available to all the external individuals, but I'll work on that and get this made available as well. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and do this so that you're not looking at the side of my face here. um, uh, So this question is from Chris, and he says, I know not everybody has all the functionality, but with the transition, someone may need a function that they have not been given access to. Who do we contact about that? Yeah, great question, Chris. So if it's like a role-based access issue, you can definitely submit that up through your team's channel. My team has the ability to um, make role-based access changes in the system. We don't need to go through FEI for that. So if your role seems to have some sort of weird access issue, you're not seeing a form that you should be able to see, you're not being able to create a form that you should be able to create, something along those lines, definitely submit that up through your team's channel. Krista is asking, will we need to install Teams to access the groups? We don't use this program. Great question, Krista. I believe it should work for you in an online fashion. So you won't need to like download or install anything. When I invite you to participate in the group, you'll receive an email. Actually, maybe I can show you what the email looks like too. Let me see if I can find it. Uh, Hopefully you can see my screen again. So once I get you added to the teams, again, probably tonight, I've got a lot of meetings today and some things that I need to get taken care of, but tonight I'll add you to your appropriate team. You should get an email like this. It will come from no reply at gcc-email.teams.microsoft.com. And the subject will be, you have been added to a team in Microsoft Teams. And in the body, you'll see this. It might say Brittany or it might say Leslie. I don't know who it's going to come from, but it will tell you that you've been added to either the DHHS ODS Evergreen CCM / care coordinator or provider or state staff. And you'll have this little button here that says open Microsoft Teams. And if you have Microsoft Teams, it will open up your installed Microsoft Teams. But if you don't have Microsoft Teams, I believe it will open up a web browser and allow you to access it online through the internet. So what I was showing you in the demo was an installed version, so it may look slightly different for you if you're using the online version. And I was hoping maybe I could show you what it will look like. See if I can figure that out while we're going here. But yeah, you should be able to access it regardless of whether you have Teams installed on your device or not. If tomorrow, once I send the email out, if you're struggling to um, gain access because you don't have it installed, definitely let us know, but I think you should be just fine. Um, so Stacy's asking, will we be signing into Evergreen with our credentials we sign into EIS? No, you'll get a new username for Evergreen. It will generally be your first name and then a period, and then your last name will be your username, and you'll set your own password. However, if we have multiple people with the same first name and last name, your username might not follow that pattern exactly. So it will definitely be in the email for you so you know what your username is, but it will be up to you to set your own password and you'll get a new username. Francine is asking, how do you take a screenshot on your laptop? Yeah, great question. So depending on your laptop device, you may have like a print screen key that you can use, like using either control or the FN key and like a print screen. I know for me here on my device, I have a tool called Snipping Tool that's installed for me that I can use. There are a lot of different tools out there like that. Um, you may even be able to use just like the generic like Control P for print screen, and that will just open up like as if you're trying to print the page that you're viewing, and then you can like PDF that. So there are multiple ways that you can try to take a screenshot of what you want to send us. So Stacy also says you can hit the Windows screen and print screen to take a screenshot on the laptop. Yeah, so I think most laptops, although mine doesn't, oh, maybe it does here. I think it's like PRTSC is my button. But yeah, depending on your keyboard, there should be something for print screen, a key for print screen. You may be able to just hit that key, or you might need to hit like Shift or Control or the Windows key um, in order for that combination to work. Yep, and Melissa was saying you can download Snipping Tool. I like Snipping Tool a lot. Um, it's really easy to use. Um, Chris is saying we did this on Trainer's Teams page and everybody was able to reply. This made for a very lengthy post with extraneous info. Is the state worker the only one who can reply to these? Yeah, great question, Chris. In general, we would like to keep the posts to the state replying, and then if we ask a question of you, we'd like you to reply to that question on your original post. However, if your agency is experiencing the same issue, it might be helpful for us to know that. Um, so rather than creating a whole separate issue, it might be helpful. And I think that groups will be small enough that you could just quickly put another little reply under there and say individuals from our agency and say your agency name are also experiencing this same issue, just so that we know how widespread the issue is, and so that you don't have to duplicate the post. Um, Jennifer is saying, asking, will we receive notifications when we have commented on our post, or do we need to just keep looking back to see? We will use the @ symbol and your name, Jennifer, when we reply on your post so that you'll have an indication and be able to navigate quickly to that post for the reply so that hopefully you can see those faster. Nicole is sharing that if you hold Shift plus Win plus S, you can snip a clip of your screen. You can do a partial or a full screen. That's a great tip, Nicole. I didn't know that. Thank you. I think, and Francine was asking, what is Win? I think it's the little Windows icon. Probably says WIN on some people's, probably has just that little like four square looking logo on other people's keyboards. Alyssa is asking, so supervisors are expected to increase the workload and manage this page to do submissions for their entire department, or will staff have access to this team? You as change champions or agency support persons that have been invited to this call will be the only ones given access to the team. Again, with 2,700 people, we're needing to try to have sort of a funnel or gatekeepers to help minimize the number of duplicate issues and questions that are coming in, which is why we've asked for your support in this role to help us sort of funnel down and minimize the duplication. So only people that have been invited to this recording, whether you participated in person or not, will be given access to the Microsoft team itself. Looks like a lot of people are helping out with snipping tool. Thank you guys so much. And yes, feisystems.com. So if your agency is able to whitelist emails coming from feisystems.com, that will help ensure that that automated email goes into your colleague's email inbox rather than accidentally getting moved into spam or junk folder, because it is an automated email process. Sometimes that happens if the sender is not whitelisted within your organization. Bonnie is asking, where will the case management emails be pulled from in EIS? Is it from the relationships section? If so, case managers need to ensure that their email is entered since sometimes it's not there. Yeah, great question, Bonnie. I believe that that's where it comes. I believe it actually comes from the staff profile, not from the relationships section. Unfortunately, Lisa's out, so I can't confirm that with her, but I believe it comes from the staff profile section of EIS. And I will say that most email addresses that we have on file have been updated because we're not getting nearly as many bounce emails. But yeah, if you don't think you have an updated email on file in your staff profile in EIS, definitely let us know. Reach out. We've been sharing that in all of our email communications, so I think it's getting better. Or at least it's getting better. But we also will send through the Gov delivery listserv for providers, and we'll also send separately to OAT staff. Stacy saying, I'm a social services designee for the ICF and also director of work supports for section 21. I have two different logins on EIS. Is this going to be the same for Evergreen? So access in Evergreen, if you work for two different organizations, then you'll still have two separate accounts with separate credentials. If you work for multiple locations under the same organization, you will have one set of credentials, and you'll be able to choose the context for which location you want to do your work under when you log in. And then if you're somebody that just works for one location, you'll just have the one set of credentials and you won't have to choose your context. You'll just automatically be logged right in. As case managers or care coordinators, you're going to want to make sure that when you log in, you'll see that you're assigned to many locations within your organization, but you're going to want to make sure that when you're doing your case management work, that you select the location name that is your top level organization's name and then dash TCM. That is where your caseload will be found. That's where you're going to have access to all of the persons that you're assigned to. If you log in and you choose one of the other locations, you're going to find that you don't have any assignments to any people, and it's going to be very confusing for you. So you want to make sure as a case manager or a care coordinator or supervisor of a care coordinator or case manager that you sign in with the location that has your organization name dash TCM, which stands for Targeted Case Management. How do we find, Kelly's asking, how do we find instructions to do specific tasks such as adding a SIP to a PCP? Is it on the Evergreen website? Yeah, great question, Kelly. So there is a technical user guide that is just being finalized right now. I expect to be able to send that out either sometime before our deploy on Tuesday. So either with the communication that's going out today or tomorrow, or if it's not quite ready, I'll send a separate one that will go out over the weekend, and you'll have that in your email on Tuesday before you log into the system. But it will also be uploaded directly into Evergreen in the Help Center. And we may even put a link to it out on our project website as well, but it will be found within Evergreen in the Help Center, and we'll also send an email with a link to it. And that technical user guide will give you the basics on most of the functionality. It doesn't necessarily go all the way down into the form specific details. So specific to a PCP itself, you're probably going to want to refer to the PCP related technical training sessions. So that would be the case manager technical training sessions and or the business process training sessions that were held. And those are out on our project website. But as it relates to a SIP, you as a community case manager or care coordinator will not create that form. The system will automatically create that form for you when you invite a provider to submit a service implementation plan under the respective waiver service in the PCP under the My Life Planning section. And there may even be an FAQ around that as well. Amanda's asking, should SIPs do the end of the week be entered in EIS before we switch? That's totally up to you, Amanda. EIS will be available until 5 p.m. tomorrow. If you're able to get it entered before 5 p.m., it will migrate over into Evergreen. If you're not able to get it entered before 5 p.m., you can certainly hold that and enter it in, and that information can get entered in Evergreen. It will be, in order for it to get entered in Evergreen, the community case manager or care coordinator will likely need to revise the migrated PCP and add the provider to the waiver service. And the system will auto create the service implementation plan that can be populated if there's not already one attached to that PCP. So if you can get it entered into EIS, it might make your life a little bit easier. But if you're not able to, we certainly can get it entered in Evergreen as well. Thank you, Nicole, for adding the link to the training videos. I think all of them are up there at this point, but I know we were trying to get the business process ones related added, and so those might not be up there yet, but they should be soon if they're not there already. Emily's asking if I can speak to the fact that screenshots shouldn't include identifying information. Yes, thank you so much, Emily. I'm so sorry that I didn't state that before. So when taking screenshots and submitting posts, please make sure that you're not taking screen grabs that include the person's A number, definitely not social security numbers, and not other personally identifiable information. So try to take a screen grab of the central content area where there's not like person identifiers, dates of birth, things like that. or try to use the tools inside of your print screen or your snipping tool to black that out or redact that, so that we're not passing images that include PHI and PII back and forth. And in your post, if you're talking about a specific person record, please use the same process that we've used with EIS for communicating, where you use the Evergreen person ID and just the initials of the person's name, and don't put things like A numbers, social security numbers, things like that. But hopefully the issues that you're reporting will be more generalized and not specific to an individual person record. But in the case that it is a general person record, please make sure that you're not sharing like full names, definitely not dates of birth, things like that that could be used in combination to exploit somebody. Yeah, and if you need to show a screenshot of everything, you can certainly encrypt that, so you can save the screenshot with a password, and you can submit that and then send a separate email to evergreen.dhhs@maine.gov with the same subject as your post and the password to that protected document. How do we submit for users not currently in the US? Yeah, great question, Paula. So also in my email that I'll be sending out will indicate how people can submit new user request forms. So we are updating our EIS new user request form to be an Evergreen new user request form. It will have very similar fields, but it will have new role titles, and it will say Evergreen instead of EIS. We will share if you need to add a new person to Evergreen once we go live, then you can submit an email to dhhs.evergreen@maine.gov, and we will provide that form to you, and you can populate that and send it back to us, and we will get your new user set up. Similarly, if you have somebody that leaves, we also want you to send an email to evergreen.dhhs@maine.gov so we can deactivate their Evergreen account as well. Alyssa is asking, will the state complete the PCP review and feedback for PCPs due in March or April? We have concerns about the timeline for completing PCPs for this time frame, since there are different guidelines with Evergreen. Yeah, great question, Alyssa. I'm going to try to give some guidance about getting in progress PCPs completed once we've migrated over in the email that will go out later today or first thing tomorrow. So keep your eyes on that. I'm going to be working with Emily and Angela to make sure that I have the right information in that communication. Amanda is asking, we have 2 users with supervisor access in EIS. I know we were told they will automatically get the same access, but they have not been on the emails out to CCM supervisors. What is the best process to ensure they will have that access on Tuesday? If they truly, Amanda, if they truly are set up as supervisors in EIS, you don't need to worry. They will migrate over as supervisors. The migration is occurring based on the current EIS profiles. So they may not have received their email because of some other reason, but as long as they are in EIS with a supervisor role, they will migrate over that way. If for some reason come Tuesday that you don't believe they have supervisor access, you can certainly escalate that up through the team channel, and we'll try to get that resolved for them. Lindy, should we lock all plans currently in process prior to the migration? No. Only completed PCPs and completed SIPs need to be locked. Anything that's in progress, does not need to be locked and should not be locked. If you click the lock, it will migrate over in a completed state. So if it's truly still in progress, PCP or SIP, you can leave that unlocked and it will migrate over in the in progress state. But if it is completed, definitely make sure that lock is on there so that it migrates over in the completed status. Chris is saying it is dhhs.evergreen or evergreen.dhhs@me.gov. Let me just make sure that I'm also not giving you the wrong. For new user requests. And if you need historic data pulled, I'm going to share that too right now. You will use odes data.dhhs .gov for data requests. So 5 years of forms, notes, reportable events, everything except PAs, only 2 years of historic PAs are migrating into the user interface of Evergreen. All of the EIS data will migrate into our data warehouse. If you need something older than 5 years or older than 2 years in the case of a PA, you will need to reach out to my team on the odes data.dhhs@maine.gov link, or you can view that data in EIS through calendar year 2024. Alyssa's asking, oh, I see we're at time. Alyssa has one more question. I'm going to respond to that. We're a couple minutes over, so thanks for hanging on here. Alyssa says, when a PCP is in a completed status in Evergreen, are we able to open and open a copy and edit, or will it be like a PDF? Yeah, no, migrated PCPs, Alyssa, PCPs that were created under the process in EIS will migrate over into an Evergreen PCP form, and you'll have the ability to go to the PCP custom list page, use the revise function as a case manager or care coordinator, and revise that PCP, create a copy of that PCP, and do a change type. And then you'll be able to just modify whatever you need to modify based on the change type that you're doing and complete that. So again, we're a few minutes over. I want to thank everybody again for your time today, for joining me. This has been recorded. I will figure out how I can share this recording out with you so that you have it to refer back to. But we look forward to supporting you starting on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. in the new Evergreen system. And everybody have a great weekend.
Great job, Leslie.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.